Jack Miller straightened his uniform and took a deep breath. He never thought he would represent all of humanity to aliens. Yet here he was, about to meet beings from another world for the first time. "Ready, Commander?" asked his second-in-command, Linda Hayes. "As ready as anyone can be to meet aliens," Jack replied with a small smile. The discovery of the wormhole near Neptune 6 months ago had changed everything. Earth had rushed to prepare when they realized someone, or something, was on the other side. As captain of the U.S. Horizons, Earth's best exploration ship, Jack was chosen to meet the aliens first. Now, as the airlock doors slowly opened, Jack felt his heart beat faster. This moment would be in history books forever. 3 beings entered the room. They were tall, nearly 7 feet, with skin that shimmered blue like ocean water in sunlight. Each had 4 arms that moved with grace. Their faces were almost human-like, but with larger eyes that shined like silver coins. "Welcome to the U.S. Horizons," Jack said, using the translator device the aliens had sent ahead. "I am Commander Jack Miller of Earth." The alien in front stepped forward. "I am Ambassador Lyra of the Valorian Empire, representing the Galactic Alliance." Her voice through the translator sounded cool and formal. "We have studied your transmissions for some time." Jack nodded politely. "We're honored to meet advanced civilizations. We have much to learn." Lyra's silver eyes looked him up and down. "Indeed, your species is remarkably primitive. The Alliance has serious doubts about your compatibility with advanced civilizations." The words stung. Jack kept his face neutral, though he felt his crew tense behind him. "We may be new to space travel," he replied carefully, "but humans have achieved much in our time. We hope to show you our potential." Lyra made a sound that might have been a laugh. "Potential is not achievement, Commander, but we shall see." The meeting moved to the ship's conference room. The Valorians presented terms for Earth to join the Galactic Alliance. Most seemed reasonable, until Jack reached the section about technology. "This says Earth must freeze all technological development for 50 years, he said, looking up from the document. "That we can only advance with Alliance approval. This isn't acceptable." Lyra's 4 hands made quick gestures. "It is standard procedure for developing species. Your technology grows too quickly and without proper safeguards. This is for your own protection, and ours." "With respect, Ambassador, humanity decides its own path," Jack said firmly. "We want friendship with the Alliance, but not at the cost of our independence." The temperature in the room seemed to drop. Lyra's skin changed to a deeper blue. "This stubbornness confirms our concerns," she said coldly. "Young species often destroy themselves, or others, with technology they aren't ready for. The last species like yours caused terrible damage before their extinction." Jack leaned forward. "We are not that species, Ambassador. Humans have made mistakes, yes, but we learn from them. We grow. That's our greatest strength." "A charming belief," Lyra replied. "But the Alliance has seen this story play out many times before." As the meeting ended, Jack watched the Valorians prepare to return to their ship. Despite the rough start, the Alliance had invited Earth to send representatives to their central world. A beginning, at least. Lyra paused at the airlock. "The Council has assigned me as your guide during this process, Commander. Despite my reservations, I will fulfill my duty. I look forward to changing your mind about humans," Jack said with a slight smile. Lyra's silver eyes met his. "In my 800 years, Commander, I have rarely been wrong in my assessments. But we shall see." As the airlock closed behind her, Jack wondered what he had gotten humanity into. One thing was clear. Proving Earth's worth to the galaxy would be harder than anyone had imagined. 2 weeks later, Jack found himself on a sleek alien ship headed to the Valorian homeworld. Despite Lyra's doubts about humans, the Alliance Council had approved a cultural exchange program. Jack would study Valorian society for 3 months, while a small group of aliens would visit Earth. Jack pressed his face to the viewing window as they approached the Valorian planet. Massive silver cities rose from lush green forests. Floating platforms connected tall towers that sparkled in the light of two suns. "Impressed, Commander?" Lyra asked, appearing beside him. Her forearms were folded in what Jack now recognized as a posture of mild amusement. "It's beautiful," Jack admitted. "How long did it take your people to build all this?" "About 4,000 years, in your time measurement, though most of what you see was constructed in the last 500 years. Jack whistled. "Earth's oldest buildings are barely that age." "Yes, your civilization is quite young." Lyra's tone wasn't mean, but Jack still felt the sting in her words. Life on the Valorian world proved difficult from day one. Jack struggled with even simple tasks. The food dispensers required complex mental commands through special headbands. Doors wouldn't open correctly for him. Even using the bathroom became an embarrassing challenge. "You're holding it wrong," Lyra said for what felt like the 100th time as Jack tried to use a Valorian eating tool. It kept slipping from his fingers, spilling purple soup onto the table. "How do you expect me to hold something designed for 4 hands when I only have 2? Jack asked, his patience wearing thin. Lyra sighed. "Most species in the Alliance have evolved beyond such basic limitations." Jack put down the tool. "On Earth, we'd offer a guest a fork if they couldn't use chopsticks. And that's precisely why your society remains primitive," Lyra replied. "You adapt your environment to suit your limitations rather than evolving beyond them." Despite these daily frustrations, Jack found himself learning more each day. He began to understand the complex social rules that guided Valorian life. Their society valued order and predictability above all else. Every interaction had specific protocols that had been perfected over thousands of years. During an important dinner with Valorian elders, Jack made his worst mistake yet. He looked directly into the eyes of head elder Norin during conversation, a sign of extreme disrespect in Valorian culture. The room went silent. The elder's skin turned a deep, angry purple. Before Jack could speak, Lyra stepped between them. She performed a complicated gesture with her forearms and spoke rapidly in the Valorian language. The tension eased. Elder Norin nodded slowly and returned to his meal. Later, in the hallway outside, Lyra confronted Jack. "Do you not remember anything from the cultural briefing?" Direct eye contact with an elder is considered a challenge to their authority. "I'm sorry," Jack said. "There are so many rules to remember." "This is precisely why we consider humans incompatible with the greater galactic community," she said, her voice softer now. "Your species lacks the basic understanding of galactic etiquette." Jack ran a hand through his hair. "We're trying, Lyra. Humans have adapted to countless challenges throughout our history. We went from horse-drawn carriages to space travel in less than 200 years. Perhaps that's the problem," Lyra said thoughtfully. "Your species develops too quickly without taking time to establish proper foundations." As they walked back to Jack's quarters, he asked, "Do you really believe humans will never be compatible with the Alliance?" Lyra was quiet for a moment. "I believe that compatibility requires effort from both sides. So far, I've only seen humans expecting the galaxy to adapt to them, rather than the other way around." Jack nodded slowly. "Then I'll just have to work harder to prove you wrong." Lyra's silver eyes studied him. "That determination is interesting. Perhaps the most intriguing human trait I've observed so far." Jack smiled slightly as they parted ways. It wasn't much, but it felt like progress. After 6 weeks on the Valorian homeworld, Jack had finally started to adjust to alien life. He could now use basic technology without help and had memorized most of the important social rules. Today, Lyra was taking him to visit one of the Valorian's most advanced research facilities. The massive building gleamed like polished silver under the twin suns. "This is where we study quantum particles," Lyra explained as they walked through sliding doors. "The work done here powers most of our technology." Jack tried not to look too impressed as they passed laboratories filled with equipment he couldn't even begin to understand. Scientists with skin in various shades of blue nodded respectfully to Lyra as they passed. The main research chamber is ahead, Lyra said. They're testing a new type of quantum particle accelerator today. We're fortunate to witness it. They entered a large circular room. In the center stood a glowing column of light surrounded by floating control panels. Valorian scientists moved around it, their 4 arms working quickly over the controls. The particles are contained in that energy field, Lyra explained. When accelerated correctly, they can be used to power entire cities for years. Jack was about to ask a question when a harsh alarm blared through the facility. The scientists looked up in panic. Red lights flashed on all the control panels. "What's happening?" Jack asked as Valorian voices rose in urgent tones around them. One of the scientists rushed over to them. "Ambassador, the containment field is failing. The quantum particles are becoming unstable." Lyra's skin paled to a light blue. "How long until critical failure?" 20 minutes at most, the scientist replied. "If the particles reach critical mass, half the continent could be destroyed." Lyra turned to Jack. "We need to evacuate immediately." But Jack was staring at the control panels. Something about the situation seemed familiar. "We had a similar incident at our CERN facility on Earth," he said quickly. "What happens if someone manually adjusts the field stabilizers?" The scientist looked shocked. "Impossible. The radiation levels near the core would kill anyone in minutes." Jack scanned the room and spotted what looked like protective gear. "What about those suits?" "They're not designed for radiation that intense," Lyra said. "Our systems are fully automated for safety." "That's your problem," Jack said. "You're too dependent on automation. Sometimes you need human hands to fix things." Before anyone could stop him, Jack grabbed one of the protective suits and started putting it on. "This is madness," Lyra protested. "Our scientists have tried everything through the automated systems. Sometimes the old ways work best," Jack replied, sealing the helmet. "Guide me through what needs to be done." Seeing his determination, Lyra quickly explained the controls while the other scientists evacuated the building. The situation was growing more desperate by the minute as the containment field continued to weaken. "The radiation will overload the suit in less than 5 minutes, she warned. "Then I'll work fast," Jack said. He approached the glowing column, feeling heat even through the suit. Following Lyra's instructions through his earpiece, he began manually adjusting controls that the automated system couldn't reach. "The field is still unstable," Lyra reported from the monitoring station. "We need a new approach." Jack thought quickly. "On Earth, we'd create a counter-resonance. Can we reverse the polarity on the secondary containment rings?" "That's not in any of our protocols," Lyra said hesitantly. "Protocols won't save us now," Jack replied, his breath coming faster as the suit's temperature rose. "Trust me." After a moment's pause, Lyra said, "Redirect the energy flow to the outer rings. I'll attempt to create the counter-resonance from here." Working together, Jack's hands-on approach with Lyra's advanced knowledge, they created a solution no one had considered. The humans' primitive manual intervention combined with Valorian quantum theory. Slowly, the alarm stopped. The red lights on the panels turned blue. "Containment restored," announced the computer voice. "Crisis averted." When Jack stumbled out of the chamber, his suit partly melted from the heat, Lyra was waiting. For the first time, she looked at him with something like respect. "Your approach was unorthodox and dangerous," she said, "but effective." Jack managed a tired smile. "Perhaps incompatibility has its advantages." Lyra nodded slowly. "Perhaps it does, Commander. Perhaps it does." 2 days after the crisis at the research facility, Jack was called back to Earth for an urgent meeting. The quantum accident had made news across the Alliance, and Earth's leaders wanted a full report. After promising Lyra he would return soon, Jack boarded a transport ship home. The meeting room at Earth's Space Command was filled with serious faces when Jack arrived. Admiral Wilson, his direct superior, looked especially grim. "Commander Miller, welcome back," the Admiral said. I'm afraid we have troubling news from the Alliance. Jack took a seat. What's happened, sir? Some Alliance members are pushing to classify Earth as a protected observation planet. Do you understand what that means? Jack felt a chill. Yes, sir. It means quarantine. No space travel beyond our solar system. No contact with other species. We'd be stuck watching the galaxy from afar for centuries. Exactly, the Admiral nodded. Despite your actions at the research facility, there's a growing movement that sees humanity as too unpredictable and dangerous. A screen on the wall lit up with the image of a tall alien with gray skin and 6 eyes. Jack had never seen this species before. This is Supreme Counselor Drez, the Admiral explained. He leads an Alliance faction that considers humanity a threat. He's proposed a series of tests for Earth to prove our worth. Jack studied the alien's face. Something about those 6 eyes seemed cold and calculating. What kind of tests? Physical trials, technological challenges, ethical dilemmas, all designed to measure our compatibility with galactic civilization, the Admiral replied. But our intelligence suggests the tests are designed for us to fail. Before Jack could respond, his personal communicator buzzed. It was a message from an unknown source. Excusing himself, he stepped outside to check it. The message was encoded, but Jack recognized the Valorian encryption pattern Lyra had taught him. When he decoded it, her face appeared on the small screen. "Commander Miller," she said urgently, "this communication is unauthorized. I risk my position by contacting you, but you must know the truth. The tests proposed by Counselor Drez are rigged against humanity. My research shows they specifically target human weaknesses." Jack was shocked. "Lyra, why are you telling me this?" Her 4 arms moved in a nervous gesture. "The tests begin in 1 month. I'm sending details of what to expect. These are highly classified Alliance documents. Won't you get in trouble for this?" Jack asked. "Yes," she said simply. "But after what I witnessed at the research facility, your species deserves a fair chance." Jack shook his head in disbelief. "I thought you believed we were incompatible with advanced civilization." For the first time, he saw Lyra smile, a slight curving of her thin lips. "I'm beginning to think incompatibility might be exactly what makes your species valuable." The transmission ended, leaving Jack staring at a list of detailed descriptions of the upcoming challenges. When he returned to the meeting room, his mind was racing. "Admiral, we need to prepare. I have information about the tests." The Admiral looked surprised. "From where?" "A friend," Jack said carefully. "Someone who thinks humans deserve a chance, even if we're different. For the next 3 weeks, Earth's best scientists, soldiers, and thinkers prepared day and night for the Alliance tests." Jack worked closely with Navy SEAL Kate Rodriguez and physicist Dr. Alan Pottle to develop strategies based on Lyra's information. The night before the tests were to begin, Jack received another message from Lyra. "Counselor Drez has historical reasons to fear humanity," she wrote. "I cannot explain more now, but be careful, Jack. Not everyone in the Alliance wants Earth to succeed." Jack sent a reply. "Thank you for the risk you're taking. I won't waste this chance." As he prepared for sleep, Jack wondered what had changed in Lyra. From dismissing humans as primitive to risking her position to help them, something had shifted in her perspective. Tomorrow, humanity would face its greatest challenge yet, and somehow, their biggest skeptic had become their secret ally. The day of the Alliance tests arrived. A massive dome had been built in the Nevada desert specifically for this purpose. Representatives from 20 different alien species gathered to watch as humanity faced their trials. Jack stood with his team. Navy SEAL Kate Rodriguez, physicist Dr. Alan Patel, and 3 other specialists chosen for their unique skills. They watched as other species completed the first challenges with ease, using their natural advantages. A jellyfish-like species simply flowed through a complex obstacle course. A reptilian race used their heat vision to solve a puzzle that required detecting hidden energy patterns. They all have biological advantages we don't, Kate muttered. That's the point, Jack replied. These tests were designed for species with specific adaptations. We have to find another way. When it was humanity's turn for the strength test, Kate stepped forward. The challenge required moving heavy objects across a field with increased gravity. Other species had used tentacles, telekinesis, or simply their natural strength. Kate couldn't match their raw power, but she carefully studied the field. Instead of trying to carry the objects directly, she created a simple lever system using the provided materials. With basic physics, she completed the task using a fraction of the strength others had needed. From the observation deck, Jack noticed Lyra watching intently. Their eyes met briefly before she looked away. The second day brought the intelligence tests. Dr. Patel faced a quantum computing challenge that alien mathematicians had solved through their advanced understanding of multidimensional space. Instead of trying to match their approach, Alan connected the quantum computer to a simple Earth laptop and wrote a program that found patterns in the data rather than solving each problem individually. The alien observers murmured in surprise when he finished ahead of schedule. Humans don't solve problems the way you expect us to, Jack explained to a confused alien judge. We look for shortcuts. By the third day, Earth's team had passed challenges that should have been impossible for them. Counselor Drez watched with his 6 eyes narrowed in suspicion. They must be cheating, he hissed to his associates. No primitive species could adapt so quickly. The final challenge was the most difficult. A maze that constantly shifted based on quantum fluctuations. Alien species with hive minds or predictive abilities had navigated it by anticipating the changes. Humans had no such gift. Jack led his team into the maze, communicating through headsets. The walls around them shifted every few minutes, making it impossible to map a route. We can't predict the changes, Kate said after an hour of failed attempts. Jack remembered something from the research facility crisis. Then let's control them instead. Dr. Patel studied the control panel they'd found at a junction. The quantum shifts follow patterns. If we could trigger them deliberately, instead of adapting to the maze, we make the maze adapt to us, Jack realized. Working quickly, they modified the control panel. Each time the maze began to shift, they triggered a secondary shift that forced it into a configuration they knew. Instead of following the rules, they changed them. From the observation deck, Lyra watched in amazement. They're manipulating the system itself, she explained to her fellow observers. They don't adapt to the environment. They make the environment adapt to them. When Jack's team emerged from the exit, the alien audience was silent. No species had solved the maze that way before. Counselor Drez stood furiously. This is not acceptable. They changed the parameters of the test. There was no rule against it, Lyra countered calmly. Creativity is not cheating, Counselor. As Jack looked up at the observation deck, he saw something he never expected. Lyra was smiling at him with what looked like pride. Humans, she announced to the gathered aliens, approach problems differently than any species we've encountered. Perhaps we should consider that a strength rather than a weakness. For the first time since the tests began, Jack felt hope. They still had a chance to prove humanity belonged among the stars. The Alliance Council chamber was massive, with seats for representatives from hundreds of worlds. Jack stood with his team in the center as the council discussed Earth's test results. The debate had been going for hours. The humans have passed all tests, said a plant-like alien with flowers growing from its head. By our laws, they must be granted provisional Alliance membership. Their methods were unorthodox, countered another council member. They did not solve the problems as intended. Counselor Drez rose from his seat, his 6 eyes focused on Jack. Honored council members, before you vote, there is something you must know about humans. The chamber grew quiet. 500 years ago, the Valorian Empire encountered another species similar to humans. Drez said, his voice echoing through the chamber. They too were creative, unpredictable, and quick to advance technologically. Murmurs spread through the audience. Jack looked at Lyra, who stood with the Valorian delegation. Her face showed no emotion, but her blue skin had paled slightly. That species developed rapidly after contact, Dres continued. Within 50 years, they had weapons that rivaled our own. Within 100, they attacked the Valorian Empire in an unprovoked war. Gasps filled the chamber. Millions died before that species destroyed itself through civil war. The Valorians have never fully recovered from this tragedy. Jack felt the weight of every alien stare. This explained Lyra's initial hostility. Her people carried generational trauma from their last encounter with a species like humanity. We cannot risk another such disaster, Dres concluded. Humans must be contained for their own safety and ours. The council chamber erupted in heated debate. Earth's fate hung in the balance. As the arguments continued, Jack was surprised when a guard approached and whispered, "Ambassador Lyra requests to speak with you privately." In a small side chamber, Lyra waited. She seemed nervous, her four hands moving restlessly. "Is what Dres said true?" Jack asked immediately. "Yes," Lyra admitted. The Zarkans were much like humans, adaptable, innovative, questioning. They advanced too quickly after contact with us. And they attacked you. They felt threatened by Alliance restrictions on their development, like those you rejected in our first meeting. She looked away. My family line lost many members in that war. Jack understood now. That's why you were so certain we're incompatible. You've seen this story before. You were right to be cautious, he acknowledged. But judging us for the actions of a different species isn't fair. It wasn't just caution, Lyra admitted. It was fear. Your people remind us of what we once were, passionate, unpredictable, willing to challenge established order. The Valorians have engineered those traits out of ourselves over generations to prevent conflict. And you see that as progress? Jack asked. I used to, she replied. Now I'm not so certain. Her silver eyes met his. After watching you at the research facility and during the tests, I've been studying human history. Your species has faced extinction many times, plagues, wars, environmental disasters. Yet you always adapt and survive. That's what humans do, Jack said simply. The Alliance is stagnating, Jack, Lyra said, lowering her voice. Many species have become so specialized they can't adapt to new challenges. They follow rules and protocols without question. Like relying completely on automated systems, Jack suggested. Exactly. Lyra nodded. The same traits that make humans dangerous could also make you valuable allies, if properly guided. So what happens now? Jack asked. The council vote is deadlocked. I must return to the chamber. She paused at the door. For centuries, I believed compatibility meant similarity. You've shown me I was wrong. As she left, Jack wondered if one alien's change of heart would be enough to sway the fate of humanity. Jack returned to the council chamber as the final debate reached its peak. Councillor Dres stood at the center, making his closing argument. The evidence is clear, Dres said, his 6 eyes sweeping across the chamber. Humans are too unpredictable, too dangerous to join our community. For the safety of all, Earth must be isolated until they evolve beyond their primitive tendencies. Many council members nodded in agreement. Jack felt his heart sink. Despite passing all the tests, humanity would be judged on fears of what they might become, not what they actually were. Then, to everyone's surprise, Ambassador Lyra rose from her seat. The Valorian Empire requests permission to address the council, she announced formally. The head counselor, an ancient being with translucent skin, nodded. Ambassador Lyra, you may speak. Lyra walked to the center of the chamber, her blue skin shimmering under the lights. Jack had never seen her look so determined. For 800 years, I have served the Alliance, she began. In that time, I have judged many species based on their similarity to established galactic standards. I believed compatibility meant conformity. She gestured toward Jack and his team. These humans have shown me the error in that thinking. Murmurs spread through the chamber as Lyra continued. Yes, the Valorians suffered greatly from our encounter with the Zarkans. Yes, humans share traits with that species, but they are not the Zarkans, and we are not the same Valorians we were 5 centuries ago. She activated a holographic display showing data charts. My research shows that many Alliance civilizations are showing signs of stagnation. Our technology advances slowly. Our art lacks innovation. Our solutions to new problems follow old patterns. The charts shifted to show Earth's rapid development. In contrast, humans solve problems in ways we've forgotten. Their so-called primitive approaches offer perspectives our advanced civilization has lost. Councillor Drez interrupted angrily. You cannot possibly suggest we risk galactic peace for the sake of creativity. I suggest that true compatibility comes not from similarities, but from complementary differences, Lyra replied calmly. The Alliance needs humanity's unique approach to survive the challenges ahead. She looked directly at Jack. We've engineered predictability and safety into our societies at the cost of adaptability. Humans remind us of what we once were, and perhaps what we need to become again. Jack held her gaze, amazed at her transformation from skeptic to advocate. The head counselor spoke. Ambassador Lyra, you were among the strongest voices against human integration. What changed your perspective? I witnessed humans solving problems in ways I could not imagine, she said simply. They showed me that my definition of compatibility was flawed. After hours of further debate, the Council finally voted. By a narrow margin, Earth was accepted as a probationary Alliance member. As humanity's representative, Jack was assigned a permanent liaison. Lyra herself. As they prepared to return to Earth, where Lyra would establish the first permanent alien embassy, Jack finally had a moment alone with her. You said we were incompatible, he reminded her with a smile. I was wrong, she admitted, her silver eyes warm. Our differences don't make us incompatible. They make us stronger together. Sometimes the most unexpected combinations prove to be exactly what's needed. Jack looked out the viewport at the stars. So what happens now? Now, Lyra said, we build something new. Neither purely human nor purely Valorian, but something better than either alone. As their ship turned toward Earth, Jack reflected that perhaps the greatest human trait wasn't our technology or our resilience, but our ability to find common ground with those most different from ourselves. And in that moment, he knew humanity's future among the stars was just beginning.